13th of September 2024, is a big day for the Netherlands. On this day, the government announced its intention to introduce the strictest asylum policy in the Netherlands' history. The Dutch government has also requested an opt-out from the EU Pact on Migration and Asylum. Announcing the plan, Marjolein Faber, who is the Minister of Asylum and Migration, said, "I'm aiming for the strictest asylum policy ever, and we need to change course. We are taking measures to make the Netherlands as unattractive as possible for asylum seekers." The Dutch government also announced plans to introduce border controls and aliens at the border to be sent back to their country of origin. In this video, we will explain all the 4 strict measures the Netherlands is taking against immigration and explore the reasons why the Dutch have finally begun to take this direction. Welcome to RichInsider. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to not miss any of our latest updates. But what happened in the Netherlands that has made the Dutch take such strict measures? Most importantly, what brought about the shift in attitudes toward immigration in the Netherlands? Come, let's find out in this video. The Netherlands, a nation built on trade and openness, has long prided itself on its tolerance and inclusivity. For centuries, it has served as a haven for refugees, from Jews fleeing the Inquisition to Huguenots escaping persecution, offering them a new beginning. This legacy of tolerance shaped the Netherlands' approach to immigration in the 20th century, creating a society that valued multiculturalism. The Netherlands' post-war economic boom spurred demand for labor, attracting workers from Turkey, Morocco, and other countries who were essential to the nation's labor demand. These newcomers, initially welcomed as guest workers, became part of the Dutch social fabric, contributing to the economy. Yet their arrival also sparked anxieties about cultural change and national identity, leading to debates and discussions. The Dutch model of multiculturalism, once lauded as a success, began to face scrutiny and criticism from various quarters. The rise of right-wing populist Pim Fortuyn in the early 2000s signaled a significant shift in the political landscape, challenging the status quo. Fortuyn's criticism of immigration, particularly from Muslim-majority countries, resonated with some segments of Dutch society, reflecting deeper concerns. His assassination in 2002 shocked the nation, but his legacy cast a long shadow on Dutch politics, influencing future discourse. The murder of filmmaker Theo van Gogh in 2004 by a radicalized Dutch-Moroccan citizen further fueled anxieties about immigration and integration, intensifying the debate. The incident sparked a national debate about the limits of tolerance and the need for stricter integration measures, questioning the existing policies. These anxieties created fertile ground for a more restrictive approach to immigration, setting the stage for the policy shifts of recent years, as the nation grapples with its identity and future. The global refugee crisis of 2015 marked a turning point in European politics, and the Netherlands was no exception. The arrival of large numbers of asylum seekers, primarily from Syria and Afghanistan, strained resources and ignited public debate. The Dutch government, under pressure to address public concerns, began to adopt a more restrictive stance on immigration. This shift was evident in a series of policy changes aimed at limiting the influx of asylum seekers and tightening integration requirements. The Dutch government introduced stricter border controls, reduced the duration of residency permits, and made it more difficult for family members to join refugees in the Netherlands. These measures reflected a growing sense of unease about the impact of immigration on Dutch society. The rise of the right-wing populist Party for Freedom, led by Geert Wilders, further intensified the focus on immigration. Wilders' anti-Islam rhetoric and calls for a ban on Muslim immigration resonated with a segment of the population, particularly those who felt left behind by globalization and social change. The Party for Freedom's growing influence, though it never formed a government, exerted pressure on mainstream parties to adopt tougher stances on immigration. This shift toward restriction culminated in the government's announcement of a new asylum policy in September 2024. The Dutch government's new asylum policy has sent shockwaves through the region and beyond. This new policy introduces a raft of measures designed to significantly curtail the influx of asylum seekers. This marked a decisive turn towards a more restrictive and austere approach to asylum. There are 4 major changes that are part of this policy. Central to the new policy is the concept of temporary protection. This concept is designed to provide a short-term solution rather than a long-term commitment. Under this system, asylum seekers granted refuge will only receive temporary residency permits valid for a maximum of 2 years. This limited time frame is intended to discourage long-term settlement. This stands in stark contrast to the previous policy of granting permanent residency to those whose asylum claims were approved. This shift aims to deter potential asylum seekers and send a clear message: the Netherlands is no longer a haven for permanent resettlement. The government hopes this will reduce the number of people seeking asylum in the country. Further tightening the screws, the new policy introduces stricter criteria for family reunification. This means that even if an individual is granted temporary protection, bringing their family to join them will be much more difficult. Asylum seekers granted temporary protection face significant hurdles in bringing their families to the Netherlands. Adding to this, the government announced plans to establish processing centres for asylum seekers outside of Europe. These centres are part of a broader strategy to manage asylum applications more efficiently. These centres, located in countries yet to be determined, would handle asylum applications before individuals reach European shores. This preemptive measure is intended to control the flow of asylum seekers more effectively. The Netherlands' new asylum policy represents a significant departure from the European Union's common migration and asylum policy, which has long been a subject of intense debate and negotiation among member states. This policy, based on the principle of shared responsibility among member states, has been a cornerstone of EU cooperation for decades, aiming to ensure that no single country bears an undue burden. However, the 2024 asylum policy signals a growing willingness on the part of the Dutch government to chart its own course, even if it means clashing with Brussels and challenging long-standing agreements. The Dutch government has formally requested an exemption from the Dublin regulation, a key pillar of the EU's asylum system, which has been a point of contention for many countries. This regulation stipulates that the first EU country an asylum seeker enters is responsible for processing their claim, a rule that has placed significant pressure on border countries. By seeking an exemption, the Netherlands aims to circumvent this obligation and reduce the number of asylum applications it receives, arguing that it is necessary for national interests. Hungary has also joined the list, along with the Netherlands, to opt out from the EU's Migration Pact. This move has been met with concern from other EU member states, particularly those on the front lines of the migration route, countries like Greece and Italy, where most asylum seekers first arrive, exacerbating existing challenges. The Dutch government, however, maintains that the current system is unsustainable and that a more flexible approach is needed to address the complexities of modern migration. The Netherlands' decision to pursue an exemption reflects a broader trend of fragmentation within the EU on migration policy, highlighting the difficulties in achieving consensus. So, what are your thoughts about the Netherlands' new migration policies? Will this inspire other countries like the UK, Sweden and Denmark to implement stricter measures toward illegal migration? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Until next time, take care.